Welcome New York to episode 133, 34, I'm not sure what it is, but it is definitely flu episode type performance that we're about to have to put on with a number of, it is the dog days of summer. A skunk nearly attacked the crew outside, getting into the building, getting ready for this setup. So you can imagine the smells that we are dealing with at the moment. And to kind of cap it all off, we have to talk about two pretty shitty games. Obviously Austin, we go up early and then we somehow allow Zardes to get, whether it's in a funny way or not, back into the men's national team conversation. People are making tweets about that. And then just the boring game that is Chicago Fire. It was a tough one.
Yeah. To the Zardes point, and I don't want this to go unsaid, and I don't want this to be skipped over. That man is hot dumpster juice. If he ever puts on a U.S. men's national team jersey again, everybody involved in making that happen needs to be fired immediately.
I would like to think people were just trolling. That's what I have told myself.
Nah, I think just with Twitter lately, the way that it's been, I think people are dead serious and just brain dead.
What we have to call out, those were his first two goals of the season. And I believe that was week 18 or, around there. I'm not going to pretend to know exactly what game week we're at now. I think the mix-ins of the midweeks have been crazy, both for us and media in general, and then kind of the team's performances as well. And it has fully taken a toll on the health of this team. I don't know how, over the course of the last 3 to 4 games, we've become so depleted. It's kind of out of control.
Yeah, I do think it's everything combined. It's, giving everything on the pitch to do things like win all of the games that we have won. Mm-hmm. It's the heat. It's, fixture after fixture, week after week, midweek here and there. All of those things add up, and it's the reason why 9 out of 10 MLS coaches are going to sit up there during their pressers and say, like, my players can't handle this. Like, this is a lot of pressure to put on these guys and their bodies. Like, just on a much smaller level and a much unhealthier level.
Yeah.
But, like, us playing on Tuesday and then trying to have a 30-minute kick around on Wednesday or Thursday is, like, impossible.
Impossible. And we don't... and
it's not half as hard as
it's not
sprinting for 30 minutes.
It's not comparable in any way.
And not to just talk about that. I reviewed our 40-ish minutes of what in the moment felt like dog out, hard soccer. Mm-hmm. We're walking. We're walking.
We would not. Coach would allow us on a field at any level. No. Not even at a youth level.
Not even close.
I don't think.
No.
And that made me think, actually, maybe, I know in the winter we plan to maybe play for a little team. Maybe we can do some kind of content around that. That'd be sick. I know there's a lot of random pickup stuff on YouTube, so maybe we do something like that. But with all the injuries to the team, shockingly, the replacements haven't been the kind of the talking points or the issues that we've seen on the field. So obviously, Tavon goes down, who he has turned into. Now we're 2 weeks removed from his injury, but he's turned into one of the most productive players on our team. And obviously, everybody can't say enough about Kevin O'Toole and kind of the player that he's become underneath Cushing. So to lose both of them, I think with what we've seen from Alenich, there's a lot of worry. And the same thing with McFarland, who we saw him live at Hartford in some of the NYCFC 2 games as well throughout the Open Cup, and we kind of felt overall that it didn't seem like he was ready for the moment, or at least maybe the physicality of the league. But he seemed to pick things up last night in a way that I didn't expect at all, based on what we've seen.
Yeah, you look at the back line, all but Thiago Martins was shuffled. That's something that is difficult for a team to overcome, and overall they looked solid. They get a clean sheet. Neither team really looked like they wanted to score, but they keep a clean sheet. They don't necessarily look like they were really threatened all that much. But then again, like I said, this is just a really slow game, so
yeah,
hard to judge. But the replacements, like you said, were solid. Nothing to write home about, but nothing to write negatively about either.
Yeah. I feel like Alenich, just because of how bad I feel like he's been, he was pretty, at least exciting to watch. I know he had, what was it, probably the best opportunity that we had where he pinged that one ball off the post, like, right after halftime or whenever it was in the second half. And aside from that, his service seemed pretty good, but that is only in putting that against his other performances that it makes it exciting that he's like a serviceable player at this point, and you kind of feel comfortable having him in there. Tana, I think in the same light, was surprisingly good. He's been decent in there, but the whole backline put in a shift, and it felt like we didn't have an attacking player on the field really for the rest of the game.
It's really like Santi, and that's it. Like Santi.
That is it.
Really, that's it. And, obviously there was the moment where I thought that we were going to go and steal the 3 points where, Bakrar does a sensational job to even get his foot up to that ball, which I think most people would go after with their head, just because it's logical.
Being conventional.
Just being conventional. But, he does really well to get his leg up there. Unfortunately, they never showed it, to be fair, not once. So what are they hiding from us? But allegedly, Santi was offside.
Yeah.
Off of the header from Keaton, I think.
And then he gets yanked out of the game.
Right.
When we have stoppage time approaching and we are obviously needing a goal to do something. And towards the end of the game, that was really when we were looking the most dangerous. So I felt like you would want somebody like Santi to remain on the field. He's not typically a guy that loses a lot of pace to tiredness unless it's like too many fixtures or way too many minutes in a row for like a few weeks. And he looked content to stay on. But it felt like that was kind of a move from Cushing at that point, right before we figure out how much stoppage time there is, that he is comfortable with bringing that 1 point home. Yeah,
he was definitely comfortable with the 1 point. And, I can see people's frustration with it because you want to go and win. But that point could literally be the difference between playoffs and not playoffs. Or the difference between, playing somebody like Philly or playing Inter Miami first round.
And we haven't gotten a lot of draws. We've swung
you
the
literally
pendulum either way. And that's what I was gonna say is like I'm somewhat happy with it. Like getting home with a point, especially in the MLS, is not an easy feat. So I didn't love to see Santi come out. I'm sure Santi didn't love to come out either. But I'm sure Cushing, also has on his mind that everything has either swung one way or the other, either win or loss, and we need to kind of stabilize things at a point. And he's also probably looking to get Burke minutes with another midweek and then another game coming up, and then we're into Leagues Cup. So we need to start getting these players. Burke is our starting center back. He's our starting left center back. Like he needs to be fit through the end of the season. So it's not an awful thing.
No, I mean, you just look at it. I try to look at it as objectively as I can. You have Talles Magno on the bench, which I personally wouldn't even put him in the 18 at this point.
I feel why?
Just because he's not we know he's not going to get in the game. That's established.
But wouldn't you want him in the game if it was up to you?
No.
If you were Nick, you're not putting him in.
I mean, to be honest, versus what we got from Ojeda, I probably would have preferred the chance that Talles would have given us. But that's in hindsight. If you're looking at it objectively and looking at it on paper, I'd probably prefer Ojeda.
Yeah.
In hindsight, the performance that he put in wasn't good. And I probably, knowing what the performance was, would have picked Talles. But on paper, I'm picking Ojeda. And it's the only factor isn't skill. I know Talles is a better all-around player than Ojeda is. I'm not trying to argue that anything different, but in the way that we play, Ojeda's a better winger for the system. It just is what it is.
Well, we've talked about he kind of has that same pace as Malachi, and that seems to be at least when we're looking at the left wing, what Nick is looking to do on that side of the field is like have a dude that can dribble and can beat you on pace. And obviously Maxi and Santi have no issue finding guys in those scenarios. But it seems to me like it's very weird. A lot of the language that Cushing uses in press conferences and talking about needing a goal and, you know, wanting to attack more on that left side and not having depth. I think at one point he mentioned putting Christian McFarland up at left wing if he needed to, and it's just so weird when you have this this DP on the bench. You know, he is included in the game day. From what he has told the media, he is one of the best at training, and of course he's going to feel that way because he's him. But he is himself, not him. Like, no, he's not him. He's proven that he's not him for a little while now, and that's part of why he's sitting out and fans are kind of comfortable with it. But it just does feel it does feel weird. I feel like earlier in the season I was more comfortable with the fact that we'll probably never see Tales play for us again. But now that it's like becoming real and we get closer to the transfer window, I'm like, that really sucks though.
Not really. I don't know. I don't see it that way.
Yeah.
I've kind of you know, I think he's a good dude. He'll have opportunities wherever he goes. But at this point, he doesn't even feel a part of the team. Like, he just doesn't. We haven't seen him play all year. He doesn't get subbed on. We don't, outside of the, you know, the conversation with some of the media members and the talking points that come up with that, outside of that, we really don't talk about him. There's no reason to.
Yeah.
And do I think that plugging him into this team right now is going to be a positive or a negative? Honestly, I think it would be a net negative.
I could see it swinging either way. It's like, you know, he has no chemistry with anybody that's on the field at this point for the most part. Like, he hasn't really played meaningful minutes with Alonso. He hasn't played a ton of meaningful minutes since last year with Baki. His left back partner is Kevin O'Toole, who he definitely has some time with, but mix in the injuries, like imagine McFarland and Tales having to cover for each other. And I think that is one of the biggest issues that Ronnie even used to have with Tales, and I'm sure Cushing would feel the same, that it was tough to motivate him or get him to drop back and like do the duties that are required.
Yeah, to play soccer.
Yeah, to play left wing. Like, you cannot just be an attacker as somebody on the wing in NYCFC system. Like, it's what got Matrita shipped away from the club too. Like, Ronnie saw that he wasn't interested in doing that, and he's like, well, then you're no longer here.
Right.
And we're going to plug somebody in there that can do it, and we're going to win a championship without you.
And my thing is, you know, if you're Nick Cushing and you have to make the bet, that is, if I put this guy into a position and play him in our team, is that going to disrupt the chemistry of this team right now, the run that we're going on? You know, obviously we're off of a draw and a loss, so it's a tough position to sit here and say, like, oh, you know, the form that we're in. But generally, over the last 15 games, we've been in really good form.
Right.
So the option is to either potentially disrupt that or bet on the fact that Tales, out of nowhere, is going to become an every game goal scorer or assister in the way that other players have been for us.
Right.
To me, that's a gamble I'm not willing to take.
And you almost have no supporting evidence to believe that can happen.
Yeah. It's like going to your boss at work and being like, you know what, I know that I have not hit my target for the past 6 months, but I do feel as though I need a raise and a promotion.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, bud. You don't have a single thing to tell me that that's worth my time.
Yeah, I think we're going to transfer you to unemployment, buddy. And, you know, it seems like Tales is on that route. I do fully believe, like, summer transfer window, he's going back to Brazil, I'm guessing. I can't imagine. Maybe David Lee and Brad have the business acumen to sell him to a European club. If you can,
I don't know. If we got to build a statue, if they do,
yeah,
his ass is going to Austin FC. That's where he's going.
Yeah, NYCFC 3.
He's gonna learn Austinese.
So that'll be interesting once he's gone. I mean, I really don't feel once he leaves as well that it will do anything. I mean, no. It shouldn't really have an effect on the team. It seemed like from all of the conversations that David Lee and Brad had with the media, that they don't have any plans to bring players in for the club, and I'm not sure I disagree with them. I think
maybe a left back.
Yeah, and it's hard to say too once you see. I guess it depends on how serious Kevin O'Toole is looking in terms of re-injury risk, and then if McFarland is going to look like he looked last night, we're in good shape from player personnel.
We're not in horrible shape. I'd say, you have some options with possibly putting Burke out there, going to a 3 in the back, having Hannes out there. We're not gonna not have a left back, but the drop down from O'Toole to McFarland to Hannes, each step is pretty steep.
And the issue is then you're pulling Hannes from right wing. So now
he kind of had a stinker last game, but
I feel like he's liable. But we can talk about the drop down as well from a Hannes at right wing to a Julian. There's a significant step down there,
right?
From at least from what we've most recently seen from Julian. I think
Julian has platinum hair now, so let's treat him respectfully.
We've had 2 bleach attacks during a season before.
You think Bleach Gabby was probably one of our best wingers outside of Jesus Medina?
I don't know if I could let you sneak that one in. I feel like us and the City Boys, we have probably single-handedly as a podcast unit, not me, because I'm totally not a part of it. And I don't know that Javi's a part of it either. I think it's just you and Daniel are have reversed the history of what Medina was for this club.
I think rightfully so.
Okay.
Go back and watch the 2021 championship season all goals compilation and watch how many times Jesus Medina's name is brought up.
This is like when you're watching, for you, that compilation is Tavon Austin highlights to the regular American guy your age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I'm showing Wildlife the highlights of Jesus Medina, the championship season.
Yeah, championship cut. Director's cut. Yeah, I mean, you guys definitely give him the lip service that he may not deserve.
I'd take him back.
I do still believe there may be podcast fans out there that might require you to make good on your promise of the Jesus Medina jersey, not to put it on blast, but I think we're at a point where maybe the statute of limitations might be up by now.
But the problem is I really want a Santi one.
Yeah.
I really want the Santi 10.
Well, that's the beauty of Temu. You can get 10 jerseys for the price of one replica.
We can get the whole team, starting 11.
You could get the full kit. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like Chicago, there's not much more to write home about. We have Atlanta coming up on the midweek, and then we have Orlando on the weekend. Both teams that we've managed to get all 3 points against this season. Yeah. Orlando recently too. So obviously away is always a lot tougher than at home. But when you have the same 22 guys on the field or a similar 22 guys, I expect us to be able to get a result that we got a month ago. Yeah. I don't even know if it was a month ago. So hopefully good results to come from those two, and then we're into the Leagues Cup. I don't know how it got here so quickly.
I'm excited because I think Moonsef will actually finally score.
I don't know.
That's what it'll take.
What makes you think that? I do remember.
Last year.
No, remember he scored, and they took it away offsides, and we drove an hour and a half home upset. Because it was like the 95th minute.
Well, no, that was
stoppage.
Hack.
Oh, Moonsef equalized, and then Hack go ahead, and it was offsides. Yeah. And I don't know if we even have a conversation about Hack in this episode.
No, we definitely hide from that conversation right now.
Yeah, we hide from that. And 3 years from now, we give him the lip service that Medina gets from you and Danny. Because the only thing I'll say is, because it's a rare thing to happen, to be subbed into a game and be subbed out of a game is an extremely rare occurrence. And there are reasons why that happens.
Well, to be fair, his sub into the game was very early and because of a Pereira injury. So
Yep.
It was almost like he started the game.
It was almost like he started.
So it's not necessarily, as bad as it sounds on paper.
Yeah, you could also say he was on yellow. He was on a yellow, so there was yellow card trouble afoot. But he does have a way. I know one of our notorious betting strategies, if it was 2022 or 2023 when Hack was getting kind of a regular run here and there, like if Hack is in the game, you bet him to get a yellow card.
Yeah.
And essentially what you're doing is printing money.
Yeah.
So it hit last night. And moving forward, it should always hit. So we'll leave the Hack conversation alone. We'll hide from it.
Yeah.
And I think we're on to Atlanta.
Yeah, definitely. Episode, I think 135.
135?
I think so.
And the notes are wrong.
130. I think episode 135. If you don't follow us already on wherever you can find a podcast, I don't know how you're listening to this.
Especially at this point.
At this point. If you're not following us on Twitter, go ahead and give us a follow over there. That's where you guys can talk to us, kind of shoot the shit with us, and look out for us next week.
Yeah, after Orlando.
After Orlando.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace.